Okay, in the previous video lecture, we have discussed different forms of if statement: simple if else, nested if else statement, else if ladder statement, and we also talked about another most important and convenient multi-way branching statement called switch statement, and we saw some simple examples of applications of those if statement in a different form. So let us move on to another kind of branching statement called go-to statement. The go-to statement is used for branching unconditionally. So far we have seen conditional branching. Every statement is associated with some condition test. Based on the condition test outcome, a particular statement will be executed, as we have seen in most of the statement discussed in the previous video lecture. So, but go-to statement is unconditional. It does not carry any condition to be done. Just if you want to alter the flow of control from one point in the program to another point in the program, either backward or forward, so we can make use of go-to statement. And we can use a go-to statement for skipping some part of the program and executing another part of the program, and we can play with control of flow in both backward fashion as well as forward direction. The go-to statement breaks normal sequential execution of the program. If you got a sequential flow of control, and suddenly if you want to change the direction of flow, and it means you want to skip some statement and you go directly to some other statement for the execution, then I can go for using go-to statement. The go-to requires label to where it will transfer a control. So normally you will have something go-to label. The label is a label for the target statement or instruction where the control should go for execution. The label is valid variable name. It's the name of the variable, just like as you write a name of the variable, so label should be variable name. And the label is a valid variable name followed by colon. So I got something label to the target instruction should be followed by colon. Now just like you got a syntax here, so go-to is a keyword again, in lowercase keyword, then it is followed by label, then colon. Now what are statements? Take another statement, then you got a label here, go to, so this is semicolon, not a colon here. Here label followed by semicolon for the targeted statement. So this is the statement go to label. When this statement is executed, all these instructions will be skipped off and control will go to this statement. Label followed by colon, then statements. So this is what I call forward jump. So we are moving from some point in the program to some other point in the program in a forward manner, jumping from here to here by skipping whatever statement you have written here. This is called forward jump. And you can also have a backward jump. So in that case, go-to will be somewhere at some point, and you will go to label semicolon and control will go to the statement that carries label here. So label followed by colon. So this is the syntax of using goto statement. So goto followed by label. So label is a name given by programmer. So any name like X, Y, Z, or it may be give any name. But goto is a keyword. It should be followed by semicolon. This is the syntax of goto statement, general syntax. Okay. So depending on whether you want to move backward or forward, so you have to place a goto statement at appropriate place along with the keyword goto and label. And this label is the name of the name given to the label to which we have attached targeted instruction. Now in this case, if I execute goto label here, the control will go to the statement attached to label here, in this case statement. So it will execute all the statement one by one in sequence in the same manner. So you see what you call backward jump. This is called forward jump. Now let us look at one simple example of using goto statement. The program to calculate sum of square of integers, all integers. For example, say I want to find out sum of all the sum of square of all the numbers between 1 to say 10. Say 1 square, 2 square, sum of squares, say 3 square, plus so on up to say 10 square. So this is 1, so 4, so 9, 16, so on up to say 100 in this case. So I want to compute sum of square of integers. So of course you can solve this problem using different logic, but I want to apply goto in this case to compute sum of square of first 10 integers. Okay. So look at this program. We have declared one variable to hold a sum, and we start with some value n equal to 1, starting value, the first number. It's a matter of just computing square of every number and adding them one by one. And you can't calculate all numbers together. First I take n equal to 1 and calculate square of it and sum of it. Next increment I by n by 1, so n becomes 2, find out square of 2. Increment n by 1, n becomes 3, calculate square of 3, so on up to 10. Okay. So I'm going to use backward jump here. So I have attached label by the name loop followed by colon. So I compute square of first number. I make sum equal to sum plus n square. I say n into n. N square means n into n. What is n initially? I have taken 1. So sum is initially 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Now sum becomes what? 1. So current value of sum is 1. That is first term is added. So next I test whether n equal to 10, whether I have done the summation of square of all the numbers. So because n is 1 initially, now n is currently 1. So this condition is false. Because n is 1 and 1 is not equal to 10, therefore I can't execute go to print. Means I should go for executing I should go for incrementing n by 1 and add square of that number to already calculated partial sum. Okay, so this is false, means I will come to else. This is if statement here. Okay, this is block 1, this is else part is having these two statements. If this is false means I'll come to else part, increment n by 1, so n becomes 2. Initially it was 1, now it becomes 2. Then go to loop, go to this statement loop and go for executing the statement sum, all these statement again. So I make sum equal to sum plus n into n. What is n? 2 now. So 2 into 2 is 4. The current sum is 1. So 1 plus 4 becomes, now current value of sum becomes 5. So thus this term is added. Now n is 2, this is again false. And we don't execute go to print. As soon as n becomes equal to 10, so we'll execute go to print, means we'll come to this statement. So we'll have a both backward jump as well as forward jump. If this is true means we'll come to this statement directly. A statement after this label. Okay, otherwise we'll have a go backward jump to this statement here. And we'll be in this loop as long as this condition is false. So next we increment, this become false again because n is 2. Go to print will not be executed. So go to print will be executed at the end when sum of square of all the numbers will be calculated. So now we increment n by 1, n becomes 3. So means we are going to calculate square of 3. So go to loop, we will get you back to this statement. It's like some sorts of looping here. So going backward and executing statement, then going backward, executing the same set of statements repeatedly, and in every repetition or iteration we compute square of n and add it to sum. So when n equal to 3 we calculate square of 3, that is n into n 9, and we add 9 to sum, so plus 9 becomes what? 14. Now current value of sum is 14. So likewise we increment n by 1, next n becomes 4. So next we add 16 to sum, next n becomes 5, we add 25 to sum, next n becomes 6. So go to loop, add square of 6, 36 to previous sum, then 7, then 8, then 9. When n becomes 10, so this condition becomes true. Once this condition becomes true means we have already added the sum of square of numbers between 1 to 9. Not up to 1 to 10, it will be 1 to 9. So this program will find the sum of square of numbers from 1 to 9. If you want to calculate 1 to 10, we have to make changes to these conditions. Say I have to use n equal to 11 here. Then it will go up to 10. So if I want to find out sum of square of number between 1 to 100, then I should change this condition test to n if equal to 101. So once if this condition becomes true means, so you have already calculated sum of square of numbers from 1 to that number. So it will come out to this statement to print the final sum here. So this way, so we have a both backward jump as well as forward jump to calculate sum of square of n numbers. This is a forward jump, and this will be backward jump. Now it's all about a branching statement including go to statement. So we saw syntax of go to statement at the end and application of go to statement to find out sum of square of numbers in some ranges, so like 1 to 10, 1 to 100, something like that. Now let us move on to next category of statement called looping statements. Okay. So in this topic we learn what is looping, what are different types of looping statements, and their applications. So basically we learn 3 looping statements available in the C language, like for loop, while loop, and do while loop. And we'll see their syntax and application of those looping statements for some simple examples. So what is looping? So looping is a process of executing a set of instructions repeatedly until certain number of times or until certain condition has been satisfied. So once if number of times the statements are executed or condition test become false, will stop the looping. The repetition of execution stops. So there are many applications where we need to do similar kind of task again and again on a different inputs or a different data until certain number of times. For example, say if I want to print your name, say 10 times. So printing name is one time is enough. If I put that print statement inside the loop for 10 times, so the print statement will execute it 10 times and every time it will print your name. So if I execute print statement 10 times, means it is going to print your name 10 times on the screen. So there are many real world problems where we frequently do a similar kind of task again and again until a solution is obtained. Now in such situations we need to make use of looping statements for the repeated execution of the same set of statements until condition is satisfied. Okay. So in C language, loops allows a programmer to repeat a group of statements either any number of times or until some condition occurs. So it's a repetition of same process again and again, either certain number of times or until certain condition occurs. Now, convenient if the exact number of repetitions are known. The loop consists of body of the loop, which mainly consisting of set of statements. Then there must be some control statement that controls whether the looping is to be repeated or looping is to be stopped. It's a condition test. So basically we'll have two types of looping statement in C language and most of the other language also. So they can be grouped under entry controlled or pre-test loop, or exit controlled, also called post-test loop. So in entry controlled looping statement, what happens is, so we do the condition test first. If condition test is true, we go for executing the statement in the body of the loop, and in this way we repeat execution of the body of the loop as long as the condition test is true. So condition test, if it is done at the beginning, so you can see in the flow chart, we first do the condition test condition. If condition test is true, we execute body of the loop and go back for condition test again. And the condition test should ultimately go towards false. At some point of time, the condition test should become false to stop the looping. Otherwise, it may enters into the infinite loop. So that condition test control is also maybe the part of the statement in the loop. So once if the condition test become false, we'll come to the end of the loop. We'll go to the next statement in the program. Since condition test is done at the beginning, it is called as entry controlled. Condition test is done at the entry point only. Now such looping statement is called entry controlled, also called pre-test looping statement. So in exit controlled looping statement, what happens is first we execute body of the loop, then at the end we do the condition test. If condition test is true, we'll go back for the execution of the body again. So there's some mistake. If this is true, we'll go back for the condition test again. Again execute the body of the loop. If this is false, we'll come to end of the loop. Understood? So in exit controlled looping statement, condition test always occurs at the end of the loop, that is after the body of loop. So this process is repeated as long as this condition is true. Once if this condition become false, so we'll come out of the looping statement and go for executing other statement in the program after this particular looping statement. So in C language we'll have two entry controlled looping statement and one exit controlled looping statement, and depending on the required situation, we can go for using either entry controlled or exit controlled looping statement. So you can notice one important difference between this category of statement and this category of statement. So in the first category, the condition test occurs first. So if the condition test become false on the entry itself, the body will never executed. So in other words, in entry controlled looping statement, body of the loop can be executed 0 or more times. So on the other hand, in case of exit controlled looping statement, so body will be executed at least once. This is because the test is done after executing the body of the loop at least once. This is one of the main difference between entry controlled looping statement and exit controlled looping statement. Here the body will be executed 0 or more times. Here in this case 1 or more. So this is how we can try to understand difference between entry control and exit control looping statement. Now what are steps in looping? Now keep in mind, whenever going to use looping statement, the very first thing is you should initialize a variable that we use in the condition test. So in fact that variable is going to control the whether the next repetition should occur or it must be stopped. whether the looping is to be stopped or it is to be continued will be decided by condition variable. The execution of the body of the loop, then test control statement, so actual condition test, then updating the condition variable. The variable which we have initialized here in the first step is to be updated so that at some point of time after certain number of repetition or iteration, that condition test should becomes false, because we can't do the repetition in a finite number of times. After certain times or after few repetitions, the looping must be stopped. So to do that, we need to update the condition variable, the variable that control the looping. So such variable is sometimes called loop controlling variable. So we'll see example soon how these steps can be applied in order to write a looping statement. Now in C language, as I told, we'll have different types of looping statements. So most popular and commonly used looping statement is for loop. There is a looping statement called while loop and while loop. So let us see each of these one by one to understand syntax of all the looping statements, then working of looping statements. See how the looping works in general. A repetition occurs as long as condition is true. Here we will have actually condition test. So these are the statement in the body of the loop. You can say this is the body. This can be statement 1, this is statement 2. If there are more than one statement, so can list out here. If condition is true, execute all the statement in the body of the loop one by one. Then go back for the condition test, especially in the entry controlled condition test looping statement. Then do the condition test again. If this condition test is still true, then go for executing the body of the loop once more. And we keep on do the condition test, and we keep on execute body of the loop as long as the condition test is true. So at some point of time when the condition test become false, so we'll come out of the loop, come to the next statement after the loop. So this is the body of the loop. Whatever statement we write under the loop, they are called body of the loop. Means whatever statement we want to execute repeatedly, they forms the body of the loop, and they are executed those many times that condition is true. Let us start with for loop. The syntax of the for loop is a keyword for, followed by opening parenthesis. It will have three expression in its simplest form: expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon. So it's a for expression 1 followed by semicolon, expression 2 followed by semicolon, expression 3 followed by opening closing parenthesis. Then if the statement in the body of the loop is compound statement, you should use opening brace. Have a statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, then closing brace. If the statement is simple statement, means if you have got just one statement, The braces are not required, so optional. So you may or may not put a brace if the body contains only one statement. Now let us see how this looping statement works. Now expression 1 controls the looping action. The expression 1 is actually loop initialization statement. Expression 2 represent condition that ensures loop continuation. The expression 2 decides whether the looping is to be continued or stopped. Then expression 3 actually modifies value of the loop control variable, which is initially assigned by expression 1. See how it works. Initially expression 1 would be executed one and only once. Then we make a condition test. Condition test is done. If condition test is true, we will go for executing the body of the loop. Then after executing the entire body of the loop, we will go for loop updations expression that modifies value of the control variable. So then we will come back to condition test again, expression 2. If this is true, again we go for the executing body of the statement, and execute whole body, then go for this, then condition test, then body, then condition test, expression 3, then condition test, and so on. So repetition. The expression 1 will be executed only once, then expression 2, expression 3, expression 2, body of the loop, expression 3, expression 2, body of the loop will be executed one or more times. So depending on how long this condition test is true. Now let us look at simple example here. So here for is a keyword, I is a control variable which is initially set to 1. So it's a expression 1. It's an assignment statement. So I act as a loop control variable. Then I got a condition test. It's a Boolean expression. I less than or equal to n, some condition test. If this condition test is true, it's a loop continuation condition. If this is true, so the statement in the body of the loop will be executed. After executing all the statement in the body of the loop, we will go to expression 3. It's a loop updation expression where we update the value of I, the loop control variable. So maybe increment or decrement depending on the requirement of the problem. So after doing this, again we will go to the condition test. If this is true, again we will go for the body, then expression 3, which is a assignment statement, that increment control variable. It's because we have initially set I equal to 1, and suppose if I take n equal to 5, so how long this loop repeats? So 5 times, because I is 1 initially, so is I, that is 1 less than or equal to 5, true. Go for executing the body. So next we increment I by 1, I becomes what? 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 5, true. Go for the body and go for this, I becomes 3. Still 3 is less than or equal to 5, go for body. Next I becomes 4. Then condition test, 4 is still less than or equal to 5, then body of the loop. Then I becomes 5. Still condition test is true because 5 is less than or equal to 5. We will go for executing the body of the loop. Next I becomes 6. Now 6 is not less than or equal to 5, so therefore condition test become false. So we will come out of the loop without executing the body of the loop anymore. In this way, if value of n is 5, this loop repeats for I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3, I equal to 4, I equal to 5. So this loop repeats for 5 times. And we must and should make sure that the loop control variable is updated, maybe either increased or decreased, so depending upon what value you assigned initially to I, and we have to form the condition test as per the requirement of the loop. Now some simple example of using for loop. Vary the control variable from 1 to 100. Say if I want to vary loop from 1 to 100 in increment of 1, it's in step of 1, so I can have a loop I equal to 1, I less than equal to 100, a sample looping statement, I plus plus, or I equal to I plus 1, or I plus plus, or plus plus I, so one and both. Remember I plus plus is nothing but I equal to I plus 1, so increasing I by 1. So similarly plus plus I is also similar to I equal to I plus 1. So post increment, pre-increment. So now this loop repeats for, suppose I can have a statement here that's not shown. Our intention is to show how you can control the looping. So you can have a statement in the body of the loop. So this body will executes 100 times in this case from 1 to 100. And similarly, if I start with I equal to 100 and I want to execute this loop as long as my I is greater than or equal to 1. Since I equal to 100 you have taken, you have to decrement I by 1 in step of minus 1. So initially 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, so on up to 1, minus 1. So when I is greater than or equal to 1, that is true. When I becomes 0, this condition becomes false. That is because 0 is not greater than or equal to 1. Therefore this condition becomes false. So in this case you should use a decrement operator I minus minus, or I equal to I minus 1. So this expression 3 depends on what value you assign to loop control variable in this expression 1, and accordingly you should write a condition test, either less than equal to or greater than or equal to or less than greater than, it all depends upon the problem in question. So got another example. Suppose I want to repeat the looping starting from value I equal to 5 to 55 in increment of 5. So I start with I equal to 5 and I go up to I less than equal to 55, and I increment I by 5, not 1. I equal to I plus 5. If initial I is 5, next I becomes 10, the next I becomes 15, next I becomes 20, 25, in this way. So how many times this loop repeats? Initially I equal to 5, so 5 less than equal to 55 is true. So next I becomes, I is initially 5. Okay. So next I becomes what? 10. Because I is incremented by 5. So unlike in previous two cases, here I is incremented by 1, here I is decremented by 1, here I is incremented by 5. So in every step of repetition, the loop control variable will jump by factor of 5. So next I becomes 15. So since 15 is less than equal to 55, next I becomes 20. So next 25, so on up to 55. Once if I becomes equal to 60, the next number is 60 after adding 5 to this. So that condition test become false because 60 is not less than equal to 55. So as soon as I becomes equal to 55, our looping will stops. So as soon as I becomes equal to 60, our looping will starts, because looping will go up to 55. Suppose if I remove equal to here, just I have got a less than. If I got a less than, so it will go up to 55. Up to 55, once if I becomes equal to 55, our loop will stops, because 55 is not less than 55. It will go up to I equal to 15. 5, 10, 15. So a loop repeats 10 times. In this case, loop repeats 11 times. That is 5 to 55 in step of 5, or in increment of 5. So in this way, depending on the requirements, we have to set up the loop with expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3. Let's look at some one of the simple example. It's a program to produce a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion chart for the numbers 1 to 100. So I want to convert, say, temperature in Celsius to Fahrenheit. So table I want to get. Say what is the value in Fahrenheit for Celsius 1. So I have a formula for calculating the Fahrenheit. Celsius into 9 divided by 5 plus 32 is the formula used to calculate temperature in Fahrenheit. When temperature is 2 in Celsius, what is the Fahrenheit? And temperature is 3, what is the temperature, equivalent temperature in Fahrenheit? So till up to 100. I just illustrate the iteration. Say I declared one variable Celsius. So in fact, has taken this is 1 or 0. It will be initially 1. So 1 to 100. So initial value of Celsius. This is a loop control variable in this case. So I set initially Celsius equal to 1 and repeat this loop until Celsius is less than or equal to 100, and I increment Celsius by 1 every time, because I want to calculate Fahrenheit for each and every number from 1 to 100, and I want to generate this number one by one and calculate the Fahrenheit. And this can be done by using some simple looping statement here. Now Celsius equal to 1, so 1 is less than or equal to 100 is true, then I go for executing this statement in the body of the loop. So in the body of the loop there is only one statement, so no braces are required. Opening brace and closing brace are optional, not compulsory. Even if we use opening brace and closing brace, it is not a wrong. So we will display Celsius percentage D, Fahrenheit percentage D, two columns. One Celsius, another one is Fahrenheit. So we will display Celsius as it is. If the Celsius is initially 1, so its Fahrenheit will be 1 into 9 divided by 5 plus 32 will be printed here. So percentage D Celsius, percentage D Fahrenheit, two values will be printed. So next what happens, Celsius becomes Celsius plus 1. So Celsius becomes 2. So next iteration. Now condition test. Condition test tell you that 2 is less than or equal to 100 is still true. Then we go for executing the body of the loop again. We print 2, then we print calculated value of temperature in Fahrenheit to be printed here. So next Celsius becomes 3, so because Celsius is incremented by 1, the current value of Celsius is 3 now. So 3 is less than or equal to 100 is still true, and we print 3 and we print temperature, converted temperature in Fahrenheit will be printed here. So directly we are using a formula in the printf statement, it is allowed. Next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up to Celsius becomes 100. So we print 100 and its temperature in Fahrenheit will be printed, and Celsius incremented to 101. Now once if Celsius becomes 101, so this condition becomes false, because 101 is not less than or equal to 100, therefore we should stop the repetition now, because by that time we have printed Celsius from 1 to 100 and corresponding temperature in the Fahrenheit. So everything will be printed. So this program starts here and ends here. It's a small program to convert temperatures in the range of 1 to 100 and print their equivalent temperature in the Fahrenheit. So it's also possible to have one loop inside another loop. So means one for inside another for. So nested for concept. So nested means there is a loop within the loop, executed from inside out. So inner loop will be executed to its entirety, then outer loop will be executed. Each loop is like a layer and has its own counter variable, its own loop expression and its own loop body. In a nested loop, for each value of the outermost counter variable, the complete inner loop will be executed once. You can see you got a one for loop. So here we got one for loop here that starts here and ends here. And inside this, you got one more for loop that starts here and ends here. So this is what I call nesting one loop inside another loop. In this case, one for loop inside another for loop. So outer for loop executes slower compared to inner for loop. Means for every iteration of outer for loop, so inner for loop will executes for its entirety. For each iteration of outer loop, so inner loop executes all its iterations once for every repetition of outer loop. Now let us look at next looping statement called while loop. So in C language, we have one more most common and popular looping statement called while loop. Let's see what is the syntax of while statement. So we'll have a keyword while, WHILE is the keyword, written in lowercase, then opening parenthesis, what a expression, so condition test, then closing parenthesis, then optional opening brace, closing brace, and we got a statements, it's a body of the loop. And at the end of the body of the loop, usually we will have expression 3 that control the loop, whether it has to go for next repetition or not. Just like our expression for loop, expression 1 is outside, expression 2 is condition test, expression 3 will appear at the end of the body of the loop. So if you look at for loop, so we write everything in the for statement, for expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon and expression 3. But if you use while loop, expression 1 will comes just before while statement. The initialization is done before looping, then condition test, then body of the loop, and body of the loop has expression 3 at the end to control the looping. So initialization, condition checking, then updation of condition, this statement. So working of while loop, the statement is executed repeatedly as long as expression 2 is true or non-zero. Non-zero means true, 0 means false. As long as the expression 2 evaluates to non-zero value, the body of the loop will be executed. The cycle continues until expression 2 becomes 0, at which point execution resumes after statement. look at the part of the program for while loop. The test expression in a while loop is false initially. The loop will never be executed. If the condition test is false at the beginning only, the loop will not execute. This is an example of entry controlled looping statement, because condition test is done at the beginning, similar to a for loop. The for loop is also entry controlled because condition test is done before body. And while loop is also an example of entry controlled looping statement, because condition test is done at the beginning, that is before the body of the statement. So this is the body of the statement having two simple statements. That's not a complete program, just to show you how the while loop works. I have taken a part of the code. So if you want to write complete program, it's a matter of writing, typing main, opening brace, then end of the program. It's a complete program. Here what I have done is we initially set I equal to 1 and we have taken sum equal to 0. And this program will calculate sum of all the numbers between 1 to 10. So initially sum is set to 0, as you can see. And this loop repeats as long as I is less than or equal to 10, and we incrementing I by 1 every time. I becomes 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. This initially I is 1, so 1 is less than or equal to 10 is true. So we perform the addition. Now sum equal to sum plus I. So right hand side is evaluated first. Now current value of sum is 0. 0 plus I, that is 1. Now sum becomes what? 1. Now I is incremented by 1. So I becomes what? So I is initially 1. Now I becomes what? 2. And we go back for the condition test again. So is 2 less than or equal to 10? True. Again we go for executing the body loop. Now make sum equal to sum plus I. What is sum? Current sum is 1. I is 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Now sum becomes 3. And I becomes 3. I equal I plus 1. So we'll go back for the condition test again. So 3 is less than or equal to 10 is true again. To go for body. We recalculate sum. Sum equal to sum plus I. What is the current sum? 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6. Now sum becomes 6. I is incremented by 1. I becomes 4. And still 4 is, so we go back for the condition test again. So repetition. So repetition, that is what looping means. The 4 is less than or equal to 10 is true. Again we recalculate sum. Current sum is 6. I is 4. Now 6 plus 4 becomes 10. Next I becomes 5. Because we are incrementing I by 1. If we are incrementing I by 2, I becomes 1, next 3, 5, 7, so on. So it depends on the requirement, because we want to add all the numbers between 1 and 10 here. This is a program for adding all the numbers between 1 and 10 as well numbers. So next 5 is less than or equal to 10 is still true. So we recalculate sum. The current sum is 10. Now this sum is overwritten by 10 plus 5. That is 15. So next I becomes what? 6. And 6 is added to 5. The next iteration, because 6 is less than or equal to 10. Condition test is true. So it becomes 21. I becomes 7. So likewise we will go up to I becomes equal to 10. So we have a sum added. Next we add 7. Next we add 8, 9, 10. Once I becomes equal to 11, now this condition becomes false. because 11 is not less than equal to 10, therefore so looping stops. So we'll come directly to out of the loop, the statement next to while loop, and print sum equal to %d. So this value will be printed in place of this. So final value of sum will be printed, that is sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 so on up to plus 10. So this value will get final sum, which will be printed here. So this is how this simple program can be used to find sum of all the numbers between 1 to 10. Suppose if I want to find the sum of all the numbers between 1 to 100, what change you have to make to the program? So I have to change size 1. So I should go up to 100. Means I should replace 10 by something 100. Because I have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 100. Suppose if I want to add all the numbers between 10 to 50. So what change you have to make to the program? So if I ask you to write a C program to find the sum of all the numbers from 10 to 50. So like 10 plus 11 plus 12, 13, 14 up to 50. So what change you have to make to the program? So just the initialization has to be modified. So instead of I equal to 1, I should take I equal to 10, the starting number that I want to generate, and my condition test would be less than equal to 50. So we start with 50, 10, and I want to go from 10 to 50. So my I should be less than equal to 50. So we'll get another program for adding all the numbers between 10 to 50. So depending on the requirement of the solution to the problem, so we have to decide loop initialization, that is expression 1, and we should decide expression 2, and how to update loop control variable. It should be increment of 1 or increment of 2 or increment of 5. So it all depends upon the requirement of the given problem. So this is just an application of another most frequently and commonly used looping statement called while loop. Now let's move on to next type of looping statement called, say, do while. So do while statement. So it is exit controlled looping statement. So only statement in C looping statement which is exit controlled, because condition test is done at the end of the loop. When a loop is constructed using while, the test for continuation is carried out at the beginning of each pass or each repetition or each iteration. Each pass means one complete repetition. With a do while, the test for continuation takes place at the end of the pass or end of the repetition or iteration. So the syntax of do while. So do opening brace, statement block, then closing brace, so while condition test, followed by semicolon. So important. Remember, do while ends with semicolon. So do is a keyword, so while is a keyword again. The expression is any expression defined by the user or a programmer. So that decides whether the looping is to be continued or not. Since a condition test is done at the end of the loop, the body of the statement, the body of the loop will be executed at least once, because condition test occurs after the execution of the statement of the loop. And remember, there must be a semicolon at the end. I stress once again, do while loop ends with semicolon. So this is the general syntax of do while. So working will be, the first we execute, so we'll have something initialization here, initialization of the loop before do, then we execute the body of the statement, then you got a condition test. And normally at the end of the body of the loop there is a loop updation statement that decides whether the next repetition should occur or the iteration should be stopped. Now this is a simple example of do while loop. Now this program is used to calculate again sum of numbers between 1 and 10. The thing is, instead of using while loop, we are using do while here. So we start with initial I equal to 1, sum equal to 0. So if you want to write a complete program, again, so you should put something main to get a complete program. Opening brace and end of the program, closing brace. So this is a declaration part where you declared two variables, I to control the looping and sum to hold the sum. So do keyword, opening brace, now body of the statement has sum equal to sum plus I, then I equal to I plus 1. The statements are remain same as that of previous program. Now condition test is also same, but it is done at the end. I less than equal to 10, then semicolon. Now this loop repeats. So we'll execute this statement first, sum equal to sum plus I. So I is initially 1, sum is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, sum becomes 1, I becomes 2. So 2 is less than equal to 10, true. So we'll go back for statement in the body of the loop. Again we calculate some new sum, increment I by 1, then we do the condition test. If condition test is true, again we'll go back for the first statement in the body of the loop. We recalculate sum, increment I by 1, then make a condition test. So this condition test becomes true as long as I is less than equal to 10. Once if I becomes 11 after increment, this condition becomes false, because 11 is not less than equal to 10. So you can have any kind of express condition test, maybe less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to. So depending on the requirement of the problem. So in this case, once I becomes equal to 11, this condition becomes false, and we go for executing the print statement to print the sum of numbers between 1 to 10. Say similarly, if I want to do it for 1 to 100, sum of other numbers between 1 to 100, it's a matter of changing 10 by 100. Similarly, if you want to find the sum of other numbers between 10 to 50, so initialization should be I equal to 10 here. So I should replace this 10 in the condition test by 50. So in step of 1. If it is in step of 5, I should make I equal to I plus 5. So in that case it will add all the numbers between 10 and 50 with interval of 5. Say like 10. So next number to be added is 15. Next number to be added is 20 in step of 5. So all the numbers between 10 to 50 in step of 5 will be added. The result will be in the sum. So this all depends upon the requirement of the program. If I ask you to write a C program to find sum of all the even numbers between 1 to 50, of the even numbers. So like 2, 4, 6, 8, so on up to 50. So the requirement is that, so I should start with I equal to 2, because by adding 2 to I will get a even numbers. So in increment of 2, so I equal to 2 initially. If I make I equal to I plus 2, I will get 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, and so on. So one way of finding the next number to be added, next number. Otherwise you have to test whether you can start with I equal to 1 itself, and you have to check every I, whether I is even or odd. If I is divisible by 2, then add it. If it is not divisible by 2, don't add it. So it means you should make, before adding, we should make one small condition test here. If I mod 2 equals to 0, then do the addition. Otherwise don't do the addition. Simple if statement. If this is true, add sum equal to sum plus I. Otherwise don't add it. Just increment I by 1. When I equal to 1, so I mod 2 not equal to 0 is false. So we don't execute this statement. So this is the only statement in the body of the loop. So I equal to I plus 1 is outside this if statement. So means the body of the loop may contains any kind of statement like assignment statement, any branching statement, if statement, if else statement, switch statement, go to statement. Any kind of statement can be included as a part of the body of the loop. So depending on the outcome of this condition test, so only I, if it is even, will be added to sum, and odd numbers will be discarded. So this way, with slight modification to same program, we can write dozens of programs depending on the given problem statement. Okay, now let us, so just now we learnt about different types of looping statement in C language, while, do while, for loop. And most popular looping statement is for loop because expression 1, expression 2, expression 3 all will be put in a compact fashion in the statement. Unlike while and do while, expression 1 comes outside the loop, then while, expression 2, then statements, and expression 3, and so on. Okay. Now let us look at two more statements called break and continue. Break and continue. These are two statements we often have already come across. Break is the switch statement to come out of the switch, and we can also use a break statement in the loop to terminate the loop after a certain number of times or certain condition is satisfied inside the loop. Say means we have set up the loop for 100 times, but we want to come out of the loop say after 50 pass or a 50 repetition. I can use a break. You don't need to go up to 100. I can stop the looping at some point of time by using a break statement. And on the other hand, continue statement is always used with any of the looping statement to bypass the remaining statement in the body of the loop that appears below the continue statement. So let us look at a simple example to understand break and continue. This statement interrupt normal flow of control in looping statement. as well as switch statement. The break causes an exit from the innermost closing loop. Suppose if you are using break inside the loop, you will exit from the loop in which it is included. Suppose in case of nested loop, if you got a one loop inside another loop, if break is used in the inner loop, so you will come out of only inner loop, but still you are inside the outer loop. Okay, if you are using break as a part of body of outer loop, you will come out of outer loop as well. On the other hand, continue causes the current iteration or a repetition of a loop to stop and go for next iteration to begin immediately. Suppose you have got a body of the loop, somewhere in the middle we have a continue statement. Say you got a two statements, statement 1, statement 2, then continue, statement 3, statement 4. Whenever the continue is executed, statement 3 and statement 4 will be skipped off for that particular iteration. And normally we use a break and continue in association with condition test. If some condition test occurs after some iterations, so we want to break the loop, I can use a break statement. And for the certain iteration I want to skip some statement in the remainder of the loop, then I can use a continue. So continue will not take us out of the looping. Still we are in the looping, but we will go to the next iteration. Now look at a simple looping statement here. Say I'm using while loop, while expression, but we can use break with while, do while, for loop, any looping statement. What are statements? There are some statements here, and here we have got some more statements, and at some place in the body of the loop we have got a condition test. If condition is true, then I want to execute a break. So we got some statement before break statement which is used in connection with condition. If condition is true, then we execute break, otherwise we don't execute break. So as usual, expression is evaluated, then all the statements should be executed in sequence. Then we make a condition test. So it all depends on when we want to exit from the loop. That condition test you have to include here. It all depends upon the problem again, when to stop the looping. Okay, if this is true, we break and come out of the loop without executing these statements. Okay, if this condition is false, the break will not be executed. This part has no effect. We execute all the statements here and all the statements in this part of the body. If this condition is false. Okay, if this is true, the only statements will be executed and immediately we will execute a break. So that will take us to out of the loop immediately. Suppose you have set up the loop for repeating for 100 times. So after 50th repetition we want to quit. Means you might have written a condition test in such a way that after 50th pass we want to stop the further looping. So then I can have a break and come out of the loop. And you can also use it with for loop also. It's not necessary that break can be used with only while. You can use it with do while and for loop. Similarly, continue. Look at continue with use with while loop expression. So we have one set of statements here, and we have got another set of statements, and somewhere we have got a continue. So normally we use a continue with some condition test like break if some condition and this. Okay, how does it works? So expression is evaluated. If expression is true, we'll go for executing the body of the loop. This is the entire body of the loop. And you got a sum statement before continue and sum statement after continue. Okay, so the statements before continue will be executed as usual, and statements after continue depends on whether continue has executed or not. Okay. If continue is executed, so these statements are skipped off for that particular iteration or that particular pass, and will go back for next iteration. And as usual, we evaluate expression and do the condition test, then we execute statements. Okay. If continue is not executed, then we execute these statements as well as these statements. And for a particular iteration, whenever the continue is executed, this part is skipped off for that particular iteration. It's not for all iterations, only for that iteration in which this statement is executed. If this statement is not executed, it will execute both this set of statements and this set of statements without any problem at all. So hope understood the difference between break and continue. So continue will not let us to come out of this looping statement. So it is applicable to particular iteration. Whenever the continue is executed, the remainder of the instructions in the body of the loop, so more statements in this case, will be skipped off for that particular iteration. On the other hand, break will cause us to quit the loop. And the syntax of break is break, B-R-E-A-K, syntax followed by semicolon. Now syntax of continue is C-O-N-T-I-N-U-E, or lowercase followed by semicolon. Now suppose if I ask you the question, what are the difference between break and continue, or compare break statement and with continue statement. You can make two columns, break, continue. You can start with syntax, give the syntax of break, syntax of continue. Alright, break is used with switch as well as looping statement, and continue is used only with looping statement. The break causes loop to exit, continue causes skipping of statement in the remainder of the block for the particular iteration. And if you want, you can give example for break, continue with a problem like a program while and this while and this while as an example. Use of break and continue. Okay. So this is all about break and continue statement. So with this, let us conclude discussion on looping statements. So we learned three types of looping statement available in the C language: for loop, while loop, do while loop. And we saw some very simple programs as an applications of these looping statements. And finally we saw use of break and continue statement with looping statement and as well as a switch statement. So as it is your duty to go through some textbook, try to practice solving certain problem as a C program. Try to understand each and every problem statement. Try to write a programming C language. So try to practice more and more program, trace the program, understand how the program works, so that you can able to write a program for any new problems. So practice matters here. So try to write more and more programs for more and more problems. Thank you.